This morning, we have three of our rising freshmen that are getting ready to go away for college here. And I remember distinctly what it was like going away to college when I was their age. I was going to college because I was going to change the world. If you went to college, you know what I'm talking about? You know, that view, that wonderful view that you have everything it takes to become an amazing person and really make a difference. Of course, little did I realize that when I went to college, it wasn't I that was going to be changing the world, but it was myself that was changed. One of my biggest lessons that I learned was during that freshman year, when I was gung-ho involved in everything, and there was a crisis on campus. There was a string of suicides. And as we all know, too tragically, when there's one suicide, another one comes along because it becomes then an easy way out of the pain and the sadness that individuals are feeling. And a group of us got together and we started to brainstorm what difference could we make in the lives of the fellow students. And we had a conversation with the head of the medical, the student, I don't know where they go, this infirmary. And our idea that we had was to develop a peer listening group. Because when I was 18, the last person I wanted to speak to was an older person. Like 43 years old or something. I wanted, though, to talk to somebody my age, somebody who got it, who could understand what I was going through. And so we went to the student government. We actually got funding. We were going to be completely student-run. We would be trained to sit down and simply listen to other people's stories, to be an ear for them when they were hurting, so they could know they were not alone. Since I was one of the co-founders, I had the privilege of getting to interview all these people for being peer listeners. And 99.999% of the people that came through, I took one glance at them, and just by appearance, I knew they would be a great peer counselor. Except this one guy that came into the room, and I'll never forget when he came for his interview. He opened the door, he came in, and what I saw was something that and I was extremely straight-laced, right and wrong, black and white college freshman. It's hard to believe, but I was. And who came through was this guy that I can't even, the best way I can describe it was 90s grunge. He had a beat-up leather jacket. He was wearing ratty jeans with chains hanging down, big leather boots with huge buckles. You could see under his coat he had a sleeve of tattoos, which was not normal in 1989 and 1990. He had dreadlocks for hair. And he had more piercings than I've ever seen in somebody's face at that time. And the moment I saw this guy come in, I knew immediately that he was no good for the program. How could he possibly have anything to offer? Because people would sit down with him, who was so different, and all they would be doing is focusing on this other stuff. But when he started talking, when we were asking the questions, a light bulb came on in my head to realize just how mistaken I was. That he would probably be the best peer listener of anybody. Because he got it. He understood what it was like when people wouldn't listen to him. I was embarrassed that day. I wasn't having a bad day, I was just having preconceptions about this person. It would have been fine if I would just woke up and had a really rough morning. You know, like Jesus did. I look at the gospel passage we see today when Jesus is on the road in the region of Tyre and Sidon, which is modern-day Lebanon and Syria, up in that area. And I can picture poor Jesus. You know, we've been hearing week in and week out how he was going and trying to get some time off to be on his own. People were coming, he had to feed all those people. People wanted to be healed. He had to walk on water. All of these things, but the poor guy must have been really tired. He probably just wanted to get away with his disciples to have some guy time, sit around the campfire, maybe get a new thing of wine and wineskin, maybe roast something, and just have a nice time away from everyone. And then, as the disciples are walking along, what do they hear? They hear this woman screaming at the top of her voice, "Lord, help me, save my child." Jesus ignores her at first. How could Jesus ignore her? Other than the fact he must have been just tired. But wasn't. The disciples come to Jesus and they say to him, "Look, she's bothering us." And she comes forward again and she's on her hands and knees begging because her daughter is sick. And I don't know any single parent in this congregation today who would not do anything if their child was sick to try to get them cured. Even if it meant being on your hands and knees screaming at the top of your lungs for help, you would do it. And Jesus insults this woman more than anything else. Basically, he said he came only for his people and not for the dogs. You see, she was a Canaanite woman. She was otherwise a Gentile. And a good Jew in Jesus' time was not at all to have anything to do with the Gentiles, because a good Jew wanted to be clean and holy, and to associate with somebody who was unclean, unholy, would make them unholy. But the woman said something that caused Jesus' light bulb to come on. When she looked at him, and I can only imagine there to be tears streaming down her face, saying, "Yeah, but don't even the dogs eat the crumbs under the table." If you think I'm a dog and my child's a dog, fine, but at least feed us. Heal us. And the one who was changed at that moment was Jesus, because I can imagine he went, "Oh my gosh, what have I done? How I judged." And now that woman would be healed. There are a lot of Canaanite women in our midst. A lot of individuals, men and women, boys and girls, that we look at and we judge them immediately by their outward appearance or what's inside of them. And we don't want to have anything to do with them because we think that we might be better than them, or we don't want to associate with the lowly of the lowest. How could they teach us anything? And so we are often like Jesus, where we try to just ignore. Think about your own life. If you're walking in the city and you see a homeless person laying there on the ground, how many of the times do you cross over to the other side of the street? Do you look at people that might be in your neighborhoods that look different than you and go, ooh, what are they doing here? Do you look at the hipsters now, the Brooklyn hipsters, and think, oh my gosh, these guys are crazy? 45 years ago today was Woodstock. Weren't many of you crazy at that point? We all have these people that we think are the Canaanite women for us. And our families. Maybe the black sheep of the family who we don't want to have anything to do with because they embarrass us. In our church, how many times will we not exchange a piece with somebody because, ooh, what are they doing here? Or we'll make comments about people. Things I've heard in the last 10 years. Oh, that person's crazy. Ooh, that person smells. Ooh, why doesn't that person dress better? We've immediately made them Canaanite women. Look at our world around us right now. How many people we make Canaanite women? I can guarantee today there would be no war in this world if we would stop making other people Canaanite women and start recognizing them as human beings. That bleed the same way as you and I bleed. That cry the same way that you and I cry. That laugh when we're happy. That have pangs when we're hungry. These are people just like you and me. There are no differences in God's eyes. We are all children of the same Lord. So how dare we in our own lives make Canaanite women? Jesus had to learn that. I had to learn that. We need to learn that. There would be no wars in Iraq. The battles in Ukraine would not be happening. Ferguson, Missouri would not be happening. If we stop making Canaanite women and instead start loving and caring and accepting everyone, no matter who they are or what walk of life they come from, because just like you and me were created in the image of God and loved. And if we allow ourselves to have those encounters, we will be changed for the better. I can guarantee without a doubt that Jesus was changed that day. Just like I was changed a while ago when I was a freshman in college. Who are the Canaanite women in your lives today? Are they on their hands and knees begging to be recognized, to be loved? Take a moment. Reach out to them. Love them. And be ready to be changed. Amen.